Alright, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mike with Mike W. Productions, and this is your spoiler alert. We are watching 12 Angry Men. Yes, 12 Angry Men. So, a few things that I know about this movie right off the bat. It is a jury movie. That's pretty much all I know about it. I'm assuming that we're jumping in past arbitration, past jury selection, and all of that. I believe that most of the court proceedings have been done and dealt with, and we are watching at the time, this was 1960 something when this was made, I believe, 50s or 60s, 12 Angry Men, or 12 Angry Jurors. The movie is called 12 Angry Men, so 12 men were chosen for this particular case. I do believe it is either a attempted murder or a murder case, to make it more interesting and a little bit more on the line of importance. I'm not sure how far this will get into those details of the actual evidence and things, but I'm hoping they do a good job. I believe Henry Fonda is in this one, and that's pretty much all I know, and we're going to have some litigation, arguments, and thought process on why this person is either guilty or not guilty, and we have 12 angry men. So with that being said, let's jump into it. Alright guys, so we are going to be jumping into 12 Angry Men. I will put it up here somewhere for you. Might pop in and out, I don't know, just depending on how I feel like editing this. But with that being said, let's jump right into it. So there's a man walking around. Second floor, general session. Courtroom 2.
You've listened to a long and complex case, murder in the first degree.
Murder in the first degree, okay.
You've listened to the testimony. You've had the law read to you and interpreted as it applies in this case. It's now your duty to sit down and try and separate the facts from the fancy. If there's a reasonable doubt in your minds as to the guilt of the accused, a reasonable doubt, then you must bring me a verdict of not guilty. Now, if, however, there's no reasonable doubt, then you must, in good conscience, find the accused guilty.
There has to be a reasonable doubt. Okay, so they went under all of the proceedings, it looks like, and it's a kid. Looks like a teenager accused of murder, and it's up to these 12 men to decide, did he kill them, or kill this person and injure another, or did he not? Because you could be sending someone away for a very long time, and in this case they did say that they will be they will get the death sentence. Apparently it's hot. This is before real air conditioning, and they're basically locked in this room until they figure out if the kid is guilty or not guilty. They can't knock on the door and ask the bailiff to get them lunch or something.
What's that for?
Oh, I thought we might want to vote by ballot.
Great idea. Maybe we can get him elected senator.
They might vote by ballot, which means they write guilty or not guilty down on a piece of paper.
It gets me the way those lawyers talk and talk and talk, even when it's an open and shut case like this one. I mean, did you ever hear so much talk about nothing?
So already one doesn't want to be in the room. Kind of a waste of time tip for him.
I tell you, we were lucky to get a murder case. I figured that's for an assault or burglary. Boy, they can be the dullest.
So he's happy that he got a murder case.
Oh, come on, Mr. Foreman. Let's go here, huh?
Well, the guy's still in the bathroom.
There's still a guy in the bathroom there waiting for him. So they do get their own bathroom, too.
You got a seat on the exchange?
I'm a broker.
Oh, so a broker. We're getting a little bit of character development.
Yeah, we can all get out of here pretty quick, huh? I don't know about the rest of you, but I happen to have tickets to that ball game tonight.
Yeah, you're not going to get to see that game.
Oh, he's a real bull, this kid. You know. Boom! You're a real baseball fan, aren't you?
What's your impression of the prosecuting attorney?
I think he did an expert job.
So there's already a few biases forming.
Kid kills his father, bing, just like that.
So he killed his father, apparently.
Okay, gentlemen, if I can have your attention.
So there is a men's and a women's restroom, so they do mix juries. It's just this one happened to not.
That's, of course, that's one way, and, well, we can vote on it right now. And I think it's customary to take a preliminary vote.
Yeah, let's vote. Who knows? Maybe we can all get out of here, huh?
Uh-huh.
So they want to vote first, not go over the evidence.
Of course, you know that we have a first-degree murder charge here, and if we vote the accused guilty, we've got to send him to the chair.
Very serious case here.
Okay, then just remember that this has to be 12-0 either way. That's the law.
12 to nothing.
All those voting guilty.
Means all of them have to do it. Either guilty or not guilty.
Okay, that's 11 guilty. All those voting not guilty? 1.
Okay, one not guilty.
Do you think he's innocent?
Well, there's not enough to convict him.
I don't know. You heard what we did. The kid's a dangerous killer. You could see it.
He's 18 years old.
18, okay.
Proved it a dozen different ways in court. Would you like me to list them for you?
Yes. Yes, I want to.
I'm not trying to change your mind. It's just that we're talking about somebody's life here.
I'm willing to sit for an hour.
Great. I heard a pretty good story last night. That's not why we're sitting here. Mother dead since he was 9. He lived for a year and a half in an orphanage when his father was serving a jail term for forgery.
We're getting some good backstory.
Listen, I've lived among them all my life. You can't believe a word they say. You know that. I mean, they're born liars.
Only an ignorant man can believe that.
Now listen.
I think certain things should be pointed out to this man.
It's true. You can't judge every young person or every old person or everybody by your own assumption.
Well, look, maybe this is an idea. Now, I haven't given it much thought, but it seems to me that it's up to the group of us to convince this gentleman that he's wrong and we're right. Now, maybe if we each took a couple of minutes just to...
So they're going to each kind of tell them why they think he's guilty. Which is a pretty good idea.
It's hard to put into words.
Nobody proved otherwise.
Nobody has to prove otherwise. The burden of proof's on the prosecution. The defendant doesn't even have to open his mouth. That's in the Constitution.
Oh, well, sure, I know that.
See, the burden of the proof is on the prosecution, not the defense. They have to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that he is guilty, not that he doesn't have to prove that he's not guilty.
At 10 minutes after 12 on the night of the killing, he heard loud noises. Said it sounded like a fight. And he heard the kid yell out, "I'm going to kill you."
Could have heard anyone say that, though.
The coroner fixed the time of death around midnight. Now, these are facts. You can't refute facts. The kid is guilty.
Well, facts are opinion until proven fact, though. So somebody at that time went in and killed somebody. Killed this parent.
She looks out the window, and right across the street, she sees the kid stick the knife into his father.
She sees somebody stick the knife into the father.
His life, his window was right opposite hers across the L tracks, and she swore she saw him do it.
Through the windows of a passing L train.
Right.
I'd like to ask you something. You don't believe the boy's story. How come you believe the woman's? She's one of them, too, isn't she?
He just called him out for something. Wonder what he meant by one of them. Maybe they're German or Italian or something. Something that they would be more racist towards in this time.
This boy's been hit so many times in his life that violence is practically it's a normal state of affairs with him.
I can't see two
Good point.
It may have been too many. Everyone has a breaking point.
That's also true.
When he was 15, he was at reform school. He stole a car. He's been arrested for mugging.
So, trouble
He's
child.
picked up twice for knife fighting.
It's these kids, the way they are nowadays.
Another biases.
Well, I made a man out of him. When he was 16, we had a fight. Hit me in the jaw. He's a big kid. Haven't seen him for 2 years.
Wonder why.
The kids who crawl out of these places are real trash. I don't want any part of them, I'm telling you.
Listen, I've lived in a slum all my life.
That hit him using the place that he lives as a reason for how he turned out. It's fair, but also kind of inconsequential.
I thought you were all going to try to convince me, wasn't that the idea?
Check, that was the idea.
Oh, I forgot about that. He's right. Here, you take it. You take on the responsibility. I'll keep my mouth shut, that's all.
What are you getting so hot about? Calm down.
They're already fighting over something stupid.
I began to get the feeling that the defense counsel wasn't conducting a thorough enough cross-examination. I mean, he let too many things go by, little things.
What little things? Listen, when these fellas don't ask questions, it's because they know the answers already and they figure they'll be hurt.
Actually, you don't ask questions that you don't know the answer to already.
Supposing they're wrong.
What do you mean, supposing they're wrong? What's the point of having witnesses at all?
Could they be wrong?
They could be.
They're only people. People make mistakes. Could they be wrong?
Right.
Oh, come on, nobody can know a thing like that. This isn't an exact science.
Nope. It's making some pretty good points here.
Let's get to the point. What about the switch knife they found in the old man's chest?
All right, let's talk about it. Let's get it in here and look at it. I'd like to see it again, Mr. Foreman.
So now we're talking about the knife, which anyone can get a knife that looks exactly like any other knife.
No, he didn't say slapped. He said punched. There's a difference between a slap and a punch.
After being hit several times by his father.
Semantics.
This wasn't what you'd call an ordinary knife.
Yeah, but you can buy it at your store.
People who sold it to him said it was the only one of its kind he had ever had in stock.
He had it in stock, so he had more than one.
He claims that he went to a movie at about 11:30, returning home at 3:10 to find his father dead and himself arrested.
He also claims that the two detectives arrested him and threw him down a half a flight of stairs.
I think it's quite clear that the boy never went to the movies that night.
Inconsequential.
It's a very unusual knife.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. I could find a knife like that.
Coincidence?
I'm just saying a coincidence is possible.
And I say it's not possible.
Ta-da! Here's your moment. Ooh.
I walked through the boy's neighborhood. I bought that in a little pawn shop just 2 blocks from the boy's house.
Oh.
You mean you're asking us to believe that somebody else did the stabbing with exactly the same kind of knife?
So there's at least 3 of these knives out there. Question is he guilty beyond a shadow of a doubt? He just created a shadow of a doubt, therefore not guilty.
I'm going to call for another vote. I want you 11 men to vote by secret written ballot. I'll abstain. There are 11 votes for guilty. I won't stand alone. We'll take in a guilty verdict to the judge right now.
I guess that's fair. So if they get 11, he'll back his vote with them. Because they're not getting anywhere. This is a very serious case, so I get it.
Guilty.
1. Oh.
Not guilty.
1 not guilty.
Boy, how do you like that?
Oh, and another chap flips his...
Who did it?
He didn't change his vote. I did.
There is a shadow of a doubt right there on the table.
If it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
We're gonna all get sore throats if we keep it up, you know?
What difference does it make if you get it here at the ball game? Supposing you were the one that was on trial.
Right? You gotta think about that. Wouldn't you want them to take a little time before sending you to the chair?
Kid really did knife his father, huh?
Think that little father bit gave him an idea. Something clicked in his head.
Well, I was wondering how clearly the old man could have heard the boy's voice through the ceiling.
Right.
Don't forget the lady across the street. She looked right in the open window and saw the boy stab his father.
Through a train?
I just finished painting an apartment that overlooked an L line. I was there for 3 days.
What was it like?
What do you mean?
Noisy?
Oh, brother.
Why, the noise is almost unbearable. You can hardly hear yourself think.
He's making some good setup here.
Would have had to hear the boy make this statement with the L roaring past his nose. It's not possible he could have heard it.
True.
Nobody can be that accurate. Well, I think testimony that could put a boy into the electric chair should be that accurate.
Right. Made a point there. Shadow of a doubt.
Nobody quotes him.
Right.
Nobody seeks his advice after 75 years.
Projecting.
When there
What
was
are
a
you trying to
chance...
do? Tell us he'd lie just so he could be important once?
No. He wouldn't really lie, but perhaps he made himself believe he heard those words and recognized the boy's face.
Could be possible.
He's a common ignorant slob. He don't even speak good English.
He doesn't. He was court appointed.
Now, what's that supposed to
Well, it could mean a lot of things. It could mean he didn't want the case, or he resented being appointed.
He'd have to be some kind of appointed, as he said, appointed lawyer. The kid doesn't have money to defend himself. He's not going to get a very good lawyer.
Now, what about this, Mr. Reasonable Doubt?
That's not the knife, don't you remember?
Oh, brilliant.
Did the old man say he ran to the door? Ran, walked? What's the difference? He got on, did he? I mean, he got there.
Well, no, there's a difference.
How come you're the only one in this room who wants to see exhibits all the time?
Well, it's the point of being a juror. You look at the exhibits.
You can get from his bedroom to his front door in 15 seconds.
He said 20 seconds.
He said 15.
He said 20 seconds.
And get the deposition.
He was an old man. Half the time he was confused. How could he be positive about anything?
You just convinced yourself. You just talked yourself out of believing him.
What are you doing?
I'm going to try it, see how long it took him.
What do you mean you want to try it? Why didn't his lawyer bring it up of its own force?
Maybe.
Well, because the lawyer's lazy. Henry Fonda's doing a pretty good job at this. The writing is really good.
Come on, knock it off.
Kill him, I'll kill him!
He just said, I'll kill you. Well, I think most of them are already in the bag for not guilty now. It's just this one guy.
I beg pardon.
I beg pardon. What are you so polite about?
For the same reason you're not. It's the way it was brought up.
Pardon me, but don't you ever sweat?
No, I don't.
It's a glandular problem.
Not guilty.
4, not guilty.
9. Not guilty.
5, not guilty.
Number 10.
Guilty.
Okay.
Number 11.
Not guilty.
6.
Number 12.
That's a hung jury right there. That's even. 6-6. They're hot. They're sweaty. They're agitated. They want to go home. And now it's raining.
I go for that, too. Listen, let's take it to the judge and let the kid take his chance with Paul Hunnigan.
I don't think the judge will accept.
Talking about a hung jury.
You don't think there's room for reasonable doubt?
No.
Maybe you don't fully understand the term reasonable.
You don't understand the term reasonable doubt. That's kind of an insult.
I'd like to ask you a personal question.
Go ahead.
Where were you last night?
When you get down to New Year's Eve, 1954, let me know, eh?
It's Bainbridge, the remarkable Mrs. Bainbridge.
I saw that. It's called The Amazing Mrs. Bainbridge.
Who else? I'd never heard of him before. And you weren't under an emotional stress, were you?
He's sweating now. The man who doesn't sweat is sweating.
You can talk till your tongue is dragging on the floor. The boy is guilty, period. Know what I mean, my friend? Got those cough drops.
We're all gone, my friend.
Anybody here ever see a knife fight? Oh, I have. You know, on my back
You know,
stoop.
stab.
A lot across the street,
Stab.
backyard.
Stab.
Anyone who's ever used a switch knife wouldn't handle it any other way.
This way, not this way.
How do you know? Were you in the room when the father was killed?
No.
Were you?
I changed my vote to not guilty.
You what?
You heard me. I had enough.
What do you mean you've had enough? That's no answer.
And the guy with the hat changed his vote.
Who tells you that you have the right to play like this with a man's life? Don't you care?
Now, wait a minute. You can't talk like that to me.
I can talk like that to you. If you want to. Or don't you have the guts to do what you think is right?
Ouch.
And
You can audibly hear the rain getting louder.
Look, you know how these people lie?
These people? What these people? Is he talking about like poor people or like... I mean, the kid's white, so is he talking about a specific type of white person? Or is he talking about like, I don't know, like poor white people?
Couple who are okay, but that's the exception, you know what I mean? Most of them, it's like they have no feelings.
And all the guys are stepping away from him, looking away.
You're making a big mistake, you people.
You people. I know all about these people.
This kid on trial here, his type. Well,
His type? What type is that?
these people are dangerous.
What people? Just say what type of people you're talking about.
Listen.
I have. Now sit down and don't open your mouth again.
He's seeing the error of his thought process, basically.
It's always difficult to keep personal prejudice out of a thing like this.
Right.
The fact that she described the stabbing by saying she saw the boy raise his arm over his head and stab down into the father's chest.
Saw him do it the wrong way.
Good look at the boy in the act of stabbing his father.
So she thinks.
Well, what point are you making here? She had dyed hair, marks on her nose. Well, what does that mean?
Could those marks be made by anything other than eyeglasses?
No, they couldn't.
I didn't see any marks.
I did.
He's made a point.
Do you wear glasses when you go to bed?
No, I don't.
Nope. Point.
You think he's guilty?
I think he's guilty.
He wasn't asking you.
What about all that stuff? The knife, the whole business?
Well, you said we could throw out all the other evidence.
I came back to bite him in the butt.
Rotten kids, you work your life out.
His son really upset him. He's not really mad at the guy. He's mad at his relationship with his son.
Not guilty.
Not guilty. Believe that's unanimous now. Pretty interesting how he changed his mind. He was harboring some resentment from his son, basically. And just like that, it's over. Okay, guys, so let's talk about this movie. 12 Angry Men. Very good movie. It is a drama, of course, but there is some funny moments and funny banter in the movie. It's pretty interesting that the way that they did the movie. So, of course, black and white. It's interesting how they played the narrative of only telling us what we needed to know versus like having us sit through the entire court hearing. We come in at the end when they are done listening to all of the evidence, so we kind of discover the evidence with them. So I'm assuming that there's stuff that we didn't get to see because of the thought process of the 12 Angry Men. My thoughts are, I wish that we, one, did not see the defendant, the person accused of being the murderer. That would have put a little more stake in the randomness of him saying those people versus knowing that he's not, anything other than being white, which also made it a little confusing, knowing that he is white from the beginning of the movie to what he is regarding to with those people. Again, I said a few things. It might be his ethnicity. It might be, where he comes from. Maybe he's, back then there was some, you know, things against, Italians and, stuff like that, or Jewish people. Could be, any number of things. But it would have been better not to have seen him, to know that he, to not have the assumption of what this guy was talking about, because you could have said, oh, he's talking about him this way because he's black, or because he's Asian, or because he's, Jewish, or whatever. Showing him at the end would have made it more interesting, because then it's kind of like, okay, what was he talking about specifically? But all in all, it's a good movie. It doesn't run for very long. The way that they cut the logic into sections, I liked. The way that everyone kind of talked over each other, and the use of the loud rain is kind of the audible and physical manifestation of their frustration and the tension that is building as they process what may have happened versus what evidence there is for and against what was said happened. But with that being said, guys, this is a very interesting movie. I'll probably watch it again maybe here in a year or two. I like these old, older movies, the black and whites, the Audrey Hepburns type movies, the Gregory Peck movies, things like that. So I am accustomed to these type of movies. I'm not so much into the dramas, but this one was actually pretty good, and it wasn't like a drama where it's just like one bad thing happens after another. It's kind of like we have to look at this objectively, and that I do like about this movie. So with that being said, guys, if you like this review, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you don't, go ahead and give it a thumbs down. It doesn't matter, because, well, YouTube's not showing that anyways. If you guys want to see another video, there will be one popping up here for you. If you want to be notified the next time I make a video, hit the little subscribe button, and that will notify you the next time I drop a video. With that being said, thank you to all of my subscribers. Thank you guys for getting this far in the video, and we will see you next time. Peace.